Hello YouTube and internet. I just wanted to stop by today with a quick video on how to make a reusable face mask. With face masks being in such short supply, it's a very good idea to have some on hand, and if you don't, you can make your own. Like the one I'm currently wearing and this one here. They have an insert for a filter. This filter I found at Walmart for around $15. This is great for pollen, smoke, smog, bacteria, viruses. This is the highest end filter that I could get at Walmart. Pro tip, the size of the filter was the same price from the smallest to the biggest. I found quarter yards of fabric for 99 cents. Various different materials and colors. You could probably find something that you would like, I'm sure. Sewing kit is essential. These hair ties, I would recommend the large, thick hair ties. That way you have more stretch, more room to play with. I've got some elastic ribbon that you can sew in for the nose support, or we can steal these metal bars out of previously worn face masks. I've got a template that we're going to upload to the description of the video. You can print it and you can trace it out. I would recommend that you take some fabric that you don't mind wasting, or paper towels of some sort, cut it out, try it on your face. Whenever you have tried it on, you want to make sure that from the center of your face down to the side of your ear, preferably in line with the center of your ear, because you're going to be folding it over to fit the ear strap. Let's get started. My template, different material. I like the sugar skulls. We've got some Harry Potter here for the kids. Got some, let's go with the peace signs. That's what we need, is world peace. So I've got my fabric folded inside out. I've put my template on. I'm going to trace around my template. I'm using a washable marker, so whenever I go to wash this, the marker will be gone. You won't even know it was there. I've got my template traced out, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it. What you're left with is the two sides of your masks. Now would be the time to take your inner fabric and do the same thing. We've made a few of these masks, making one for every member of our household times two. We're just going to repeat the process for the inner part of the mask. Now we have the inner portion of our mask. If you have a sewing machine, that would make this process much easier. If not, you can do it by hand, and it will take anywhere from 30 minutes to a couple hours, depending on how fast you work. Start by taking your two outer pieces, turning them inside out against each other. And what we want to do is sew from the nose piece all the way down to the bottom. I would recommend to not just start at the tip of the nose piece, but about a quarter inch to half an inch over the peak there, and then down, and do the same thing at the bottom, about a quarter inch to a half inch at the base. It's going right next to the thread that I've previously done. Looping it over, we're going to go all the way down to the base. Making masks at home with your family is much fun. doing this by hand to show you that anybody can do this with a needle and thread in any kind of fabric. And also because I don't know how to get sewing machine to work. Just broke my needle. There you have it. The start of your mask. It's got the curvature to form to your face. Even if you didn't have the nose support, it will still somewhat form to the shape of your face. Now, we do have to do the same thing with the inner. The reason why is because if you would have sewed them together initially, you wouldn't be able to fit your filter in and cover the first part of your face. If you were only able to fit a filter over here and a filter over here, your breath would go straight through the center, and so would pathogens or anything that you don't necessarily want. So that's why we don't sew them together. All right, there you have it. I've got the innards and the outermost portion of my mask. We're gonna sew the entire top portion of the mask. Start at the center, work your way around, down. I'm gonna get me a long enough piece of string to work all the way around here. That's where we're gonna start next. Seat the two pieces together as close and as lined up center to center as you can before you start. And the way I do it, I start from the inner, and then I loop around and go back through, and loop around and go back through, and it naturally folds these together like so. There's probably a better way to do it. Again, I'm no professional. So we're going to stop about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch away from the edge here, where we take and we're going to fold it over and push it out as far as our material will let us. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. These innards here, they don't ever, on any of the 3 or 4 masks I've made, they haven't lined up perfectly, but they've turned out good. We're going to go back and forth over that corner a couple times so it has a nice strong thread holding it in place. This is the part that's going to be stretching over your ears, so it's going to have the most tension on it. Once you've worn it a couple times, that tension won't be as tight. Now I'm going to go back and forth across that all the way down the hairband. They can be kind of wide space stitches because we're actually going to go all the way back up and back down to give it nice support. Next, now that I've gone from the nose all the way to the earpiece, down, up, and back down, I'm gonna sew pretty much all the way to here in the center of the mask on both sides. Well, just on this one side for now. Same pattern as we did on the top. Loop it back around. Now we have the first half of our mask done. Repeat the same process for the other side of the mask. Now here, when you get about a ½ inch away from the edge as you're sewing from the center of the nose over to the ear, when you get about a ½ inch from the ear, you want to take your hair tie, slide it over the fabric, and then you want to take your fabric and fold it over the hair tie, like so. Kind of stretch out the hair tie, slide it up, and we're going to put some pins in here to hold it in place to make it a little easier for you to sew. At the start of this top thread on the ear hole, I'm going to do about 5 to 10 different stitch loops. That way it's nice and durable around the earpiece. That's going to have the most tension on it at all times. So we want to make sure it's nice and tight and has plenty of support. As you're sewing this, you just want to go in one side, out the other, and repeat all the way down. Once you get to the end, go back up. Once you get to the top, we are going to go back down. We're going over this so it has plenty of support. If you're using a sewing machine, that may not be necessary, may just a second pass. I feel like it has plenty of durability and it will last you for a decent amount of time. And again, once we get to the bottom, on that third pass around this edge, loop it between 5 to 10 times so you have a nice solid threading. Once that portion is done, you can take your pins out. And we're going to continue the same stitch that we did at the top of the mask, at the base of the mask, till we get about 1 inch away from the center. That way we have plenty of room to insert our filter. Alright guys, so we've sewn from the center down to the side earpiece, down along the earpiece, and down several inches, leaving an opening on both sides, enough to stick your filter in. I have ripped the nose support off a dust mask, stick it in through the base. I'm going to kind of put a fold in it where the nose would be. I'm going to take my thread and just sew the center of it. Now once that you have that fold in there and you've sewn around the center of it, it should stay in place. You can sew down the side of it. You can sew on the edges of it, but for quickness, I'm just going to sew the center of it and it should stay attached. Now our nose support is in place and you can pinch it to your nose. This is the filter that I purchased at Walmart for roughly $15. What I've done to remove this filter is cut along the top of it with scissors, and then I've pried this metal wiring from the filter, but you don't want to pull too hard or you will rip the filter material, but just slowly pry it along while you've just gotten the top cut. Once you've gotten the metal wire unstuck from the surface of both sides, take your scissors, cut along the cardboard on all sides. And you're left from a 20 by 30 filter with roughly 8 feet of material. You could potentially make maybe even hundreds of mask inserts out of this one filter for $15. That is the beauty of this particular mask design. And the nice thing about these filters is they're in stock everywhere that I've seen. I'm going to take my template and we're going to trace around this template. I'm just going to flip this template over and we're going to line this nose piece up with the edge nose piece on that side. And cut it like there is our template that we've drawn on. And since this is going to go on the inside of this original template, I'm going to cut inside my marks so the filter has room to fit inside the mask that we've made. There's our filter. Open your mask up, and now you can insert your filter material. Try and position it to where it lays flat. There are creases in it because it was folded up, so it may be kind of difficult, but it's not impossible. All right, guys, there you have it. The mask is done. It's comfortable. If you need to loosen up the ears, you can stretch them out a little bit. It will loosen up over time. I've got myself a couple of these. That way I can wash one every night and I'll have a fresh one to wear in the morning. I'd recommend you do the same for you and your family. And if you have a stockpile of extra masks, make yourself some of these. Donate those disposable masks to the hospitals and healthcare professionals that need them in this time of crisis. Thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you have all learned something today. And in the near future, we're going to upload some videos on some different styles and some faster mask ideas. Thank you for watching. It's comfortable. It looks good. And there were cheaper ones, but I went with the higher grade filter that filtered more particles or more things. 3 times